Hello everyone, I'm Ma'am Jackie, and today we will be discussing about vectors. After watching this video, you are expected to define scalar and vector quantities, differentiate vector and scalar quantities, classify the physical quantities as scalar and vector quantities, determine the magnitude and direction of a given vector, and perform addition of vectors. Pero bago tayo pumunta sa lesson proper, we need to check your knowledge about vector and scalar quantities by answering the question, which of the following contain two vectors and a scalar? So ang sagot sa katanungan ay letter A. Displacement, velocity, and speed. Displacement and velocity ay parehong vector quantity samantalang ang speed ay scalar quantity. At letter D. Weight, acceleration, and mass. Ang weight at acceleration ay parehas na vector quantities at ang mass ay isang scalar quantity. We encounter many physical quantities in our daily life. There are so many physical quantities in nature. We can even divide them into two broad groups called the vectors and scalars. So ano nga ba ang vector and scalar quantities? Ang scalar quantity ay isang physical quantity na meron lang magnitude o size, kagaya ng milk tea, ng bigas, at ng temperature. There is only one number to describe each. In the given examples, we have 55 ml of milk tea, 25 kg of rice, and the temperature is 36.5 degrees Celsius. While vector quantity is a physical quantity that has both magnitude and direction. For example, the typhoon Ondoy way back 2009 had a speed of 330 km per hour and its direction was northeast of Virac, Catanduanes. We call this the velocity of the typhoon. Another example of a vector quantity is acceleration, like in the picture where a car traveling east shifted its speed from 60 km per hour to 100 km per hour. Our last example of a vector quantity is a force due to a 25 kg of rice placed on a table. Its weight is 240 Newton in a downward direction. In here, we have the force which is equivalent to the weight of the bag of rice. Take note that the weight and mass are related, but they are not the same. Weight is proportional to the mass and it is always directed towards the center of the earth. Vectors are drawn as arrows. An arrow has both length, which represents the magnitude of the vector, and an arrowhead, which represents the direction of the vector. In this case, the arrow points to the east or to the right. There are several operations which could be applied in vector. One of those is the vector addition. The sum of two or more vectors will produce a result which is called resultant. The resultant is also a vector quantity. So the symbol for the resultant is R and an arrow above it. In adding vector, we could use the head-to-tail method. For example, we have vector 1 equals 5 units to east. And then vector 2 is 3 units in the same direction. So first of all, we will set our reference point or starting point. In this case, I'll have this as our starting point. And then, of course, i-identify natin kung nasaan ang east. So, dito ang east natin sa positive x-axis. Positive x-axis, nandito yung east direction. Dito sa negative x-axis, ito yung west direction. So, sabi niya, ang vector 1 is 5 units due east. So, let's draw a vector from the starting point until we have 5 units. So, ito yon. This is my 5 units vector. Okay? So, this is the tail and this is the head. Sa head-to-tail method, we will just connect the tail of the second vector from the head of the first vector. In this case, this is the head of the second vector and this is 3 units. For the resultant, we will just connect the tail of the first vector to the head of the last vector. So in this case, we will have straight line, okay, going to the east direction. So meaning, this yellow arrow is our resultant. We already know the direction. Alam na natin agad yung direction ng ating resultant. Okay, ang direction niya ay nasa east. Pero ano ang magnitude? Ang magnitude ay yung total length ng ating resultant. So, ang total length niya is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, 8 units. Yan ang ating resultant. At dito po nagtatapos ang ating discussion. Sana ay natuto kayo sa lesson na tinalakay natin ngayon. At sana ay magsilbing gabay ang video na ito para masagutan ninyo ang mga activities sa inyong General Physics modules. Hanggang sa muli! Hello everyone! I'm Ma'am Jackie. Hanggang sa muli!